recording in progress is right. All right, here we are. It is the March session of our site clinic meetup. And after our exciting time in the February session, some of us are looking forward to seeing how this one goes. I have some just some preliminary kind of business to deal with here, so let me get that out of the way. I've been through the security settings several times, and so I think we're in good shape as far as unwanted guests. But Sandy's point, and Drew reinforced it, you can't rename yourself, and so that's the specific thing that we've done. But there's also a setting here that sort of drops the hammer on all participants in one shot, which I think is your ultimate recourse. And I think that Zoom bombing must have increased lately because that wasn't there a month or two ago. Anyway, Drew is co-hosting to admit people, which I appreciate. And I wanted to acknowledge that there were several people who made comments, I think it was in this meetup's page, in regard to difficulty getting on board last time, and Drew and others were good enough to reply, and that was helpful, and I appreciate that. It doesn't occur to me to actually go and check the page after the session's over if I haven't got something specific to do, but I realize that's probably something that I should be thinking of. We have Dale's video running here, but you guys are seeing me right now, I take it, right? Okay, so that's normal. Okay, just continuing on. Just by the way, I was at a meetup last night that was for meetup organizers that the New York City meetup people organized. Didn't have that great a turnout, considering that there are some 750 plus WordPress meetups. But it was interesting to meet the people. I was the only male in the group, which I don't know, I guess women are more sociable or something. Anyway, we talked about sort of mutual experiences and ups and downs. And it's possible that we'll come up with some interesting ideas from the content and topics point of view if we collaborate to bring our resources and capabilities together. I mean, New York's got a pretty sizable membership. East Bay, which is San Francisco, is also quite well developed and one of the older meetup groups. I know Chicago and Miami are also large. So that's just by way of sort of news on what's happening. We haven't talked at all in our group about, do we want to consider in-person meetings? Personally, I think it's still a bit early. Does anybody have any strong feeling one way or the other in terms of these Zoom sessions, or an early versus a late return to in-person meetings?
I'm with you, Robin. I'm a little bit leery.
I kind of like the Zoom aspect of being able to skip the travel time, number one. And number two, I like being able to go to the Chicago meetup or to the Vancouver meetup and vice versa. I think when you get really far offshore, like when you're on the other side of the world, it's a little different. But I've been taking these Gutenberg workshops that have been available. And one of the guys, some of the guys are in New Zealand, which of course makes them like almost a day ahead of us. So if it's Tuesday evening now, it's Wednesday mid-morning in New Zealand, which is kind of weird, but big deal. Such is life. I guess that's pretty much it. I have one
person with their hand raised.
I'm sorry?
We have a person with their hand raised.
And who's that?
Empress.
Empress. Empress, speak up. Please turn your video on so that we can see when you start. Hello, Empress.
And Empress, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Right. Yeah, so I think you can say ask to unmute, and that, which I just done, and sends a message.
Hello?
Yes, please turn your video on so that we can see you,
Okay.
just at the beginning of whatever you have to offer.
Hi.
There, good, good. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We had a bit of trouble in our February session with people who were like intruders who disrupted us. And so one of the things we said was, well,
Right.
let's just start off with video. And if somebody 3 minutes into a discussion wants to go back to being video off, sure, go ahead. But this way we'll make sure we have real people. So what
I'm
can
one
we
of
do
those
for you?
people. I have a toddler here, so I'm one of those people that would like to remain off in case he's doing funny things in the background.
Not to worry. I mean, we've seen some funny
I
things
don't want him to
before.
distract anybody else.
Not to worry about it.
Okay. I just wanted to say I wasn't able to speak earlier, or I was having a little bit of difficulty. So I didn't want anyone to think that I was one of those intruders. So I had my
No,
hand raised.
we start off with everyone's muted. And then
Okay.
whenever you have something to say, you put up your hand or wave or whatever, and then we unmute and turn the video on, and then you're fine.
Okay. Okay.
If the mute is off and you just touch your space bar, you'll be able to unmute
Okay.
yourself, speak, and then stop. So you don't have to leave it on if you don't want.
Okay.
In
Thank
fact,
you.
if you're muted and you talk, Zoom tells you to unmute. In other
Okay.
words, it's aware of what's going on. Okay, so you're good to go. Do you have a
Thank
request
you.
of us in terms of assistance in some way?
Not yet. I'm
Okay,
here to listen, grow, and learn.
you're
And
welcome
I'm sure
to
by the end of
listen in.
it, I'll have something. Thank you.
We used to call that, when these things were called user groups, we called it lurking.
Oh,
Meaning you're sort of there, but you're a little, haven't really committed yourself, and but
yes.
that's a perfectly acceptable thing to do. I don't
Thank
have any
you.
problem with that. So let's go to we have now 19 people. So would anyone like to make a request to start us off? Well, whoever would like, well, maybe they are fighting with a mute problem, but I don't think that is likely to be it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah. My name's Ross. I posted a couple questions that I had in the group sort of comment section, and there's 4 of them that I was getting particularly with Google Lighthouse, which is the developer tool for kind of just examining a site and some of the issues they had. And I guess one of the first ones that I had was something about a passive listener, enabling a passive listener on mouse scroll. And I'm wondering if anyone has any experience with that, or how something like that gets implemented. I guess it's maybe not WordPress specific. My site is built on WordPress, so that's kind of that's my starting point.
And the Lighthouse is a plugin. I mean, I know what Lighthouse is in terms of the analytics platform. So
Yeah.
You have a plugin that brings that to your dashboard or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm just using, I'm using Google Chrome, and so when I view my website, I go there. There's 3 little dots in the upper right-hand corner of Google Chrome, and if you go into there and you click on Developer Tools or More Tools, Developer Tools, Lighthouse is built right into there. And so when I queue up my page and perform a report or an audit of it, that's one of the first things that shows up for me. And I'm using a plugin called Image Map Pro, which allows me to do mouse hover over an image to sort of create a hotspot. And I'm guessing it has something to do with that. And I'm just sort of, my page score is doing well. I'm just trying to figure out ways to eliminate problems that could, essentially affect my ranking from Google's Lighthouse.
So this is some presumably JavaScript listener that detects the mouse movements and then fires off something as a result? Like,
Yeah, let me
you
see if
know,
I can get,
highlights or switches, mode or whatever.
that's correct.
And so the error message comes back saying the listener is not working.
I believe so. It's recommending that I use a passive listener instead of whatever it's a bit Greek to me. So
So have you
forgive
tried
me.
Googling passive listener light to,
Yeah, I did, and again, it was kind of coming up a bit Greek to me, and like I feel like a lot of the solutions are sort of like get into the PHP and stuff like that, and so I'm sort of like, is that something that I have to do, or is this even a legitimate problem, or is it, is it even possible to pass a Lighthouse score without some sort of recommendation? So yeah, I guess there's quite a few little questions to maybe unpack out of that, but
yeah,
Rod, when you're
Yeah.
looking at Lighthouse, what do you have selected? Like, what categories?
that's a good question here. I'm going to just run it right now. And
you want to share
uh,
your screen.
sure. Yeah. So hopefully I've got a billion
Make
tabs
sure the
open.
window you want is in the forefront, because that makes
course,
it
yeah.
easier for you to pick off of your desktop when you bring
Yeah.
this up. Okay.
Okay. So I'm just going to run the test quick here. Generate report. It's high pressure. Lots of eyeballs watching my site performance here.
You're
Yeah,
handling it
I'm
well.
not an advanced WordPress developer by any means. I've just been doing everything I can inside of like a WYSIWYG editor. And I'm pretty happy ultimately with the performance. I guess I'm just, maybe not as happy as I once was. But this seems to fluctuate quite a bit. So I'm just going to pull this out here and see. I mean, this comes up almost constantly for me, the reduce unused CSS. And everything kind of gets a little truncated, and I'm like, okay, I don't really know what that is, but let's see if I can get the listener
Well,
in here.
So did you develop this theme, or are you using
I'm using a theme called Generate Press, which I found through HubSpot, which is what we're using as our CRM. HubSpot had recommended it as the theme with the least amount of requests involved in it, and sort of one of the faster ranking ones. So this here, consider marking your touch and wheel event listeners as passive to improve your page's scroll performance. And when I Googled that, I wasn't really finding any information that I felt relevant to what I was trying to do, or like how, and even how I would get there. So
Ross, can you zoom in? So we can't, the type's too small to be able to see.
How about that?
Yeah, it's still pretty small. Let me see if I can blow up my screen. Yeah, now it's better. Okay,
Yeah.
Consider making your touch and wheel event listeners as passive. Okay. Well, I mean, when you did you Google make touch and wheel event listeners passive?
It did, yeah.
And what was the response?
I wasn't finding anything. I didn't find any clarity on it, to be honest. It seemed like I was getting kind of just garbage results back that, or they were so advanced that it seemed like it was like for people that weren't working with WordPress and,
but it seems to me what this stuff really seems to me like for people who are going to go in and mess with the theme, not for someone who's using it at an advanced level, but as a user, not as a developer.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other thing is that this does
Guys,
not
I've gotta
indicate.
go. Bye.
Sorry, Sandy. You
Yeah.
continuing?
Thanks.
Did I interrupt you, Sandy?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just carrying on what Sandy was saying there. The problem with these kinds of reports is that they are developer reports, and they give you a lot of information about things that you really can't do a lot about, because a lot of this stuff is baked into either your theme or the plugins that you're using, or the page builder that you're using. And these kinds of reports are intended really for the developers of those products. And you
Gotcha.
are kind of at the mercy of those developers for the choices that they've made.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's probably safe to say that only a tiny percentage of WordPress site owners or people working on them would be expected to be able to do anything with JavaScript that's internal to somebody's plugin or service. Simply because it's just not the way WordPress works. That when you build a plugin, you wouldn't make any provision. For example, if you had active listeners you wouldn't make any provision for passive listeners unless you wanted to put a switch on it to let the user turn it on or off or change it or whatever.
Gotcha.
I think the practical point, though, may be that if the only effect of this passive versus active listener is your scrolling speed, then that would be probably as small a ranking factor as exists in the Google scheme of things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You may not have any problem of substance. I would say, this point here about your excessive
DOM size, yeah.
DOM size with 2,377 elements is pretty big. Are you familiar with what DOM stands for?
Very, very amateurly. Like I read about it and I was like,
if you think of a tree, it's a scheme to present the way a page is built or made up of its component parts that shows them like a tree sort of branching out or hierarchically expanding sort of as you go into more and more detail of things that are inside like a div, which has a paragraph, which has an image, which has a caption, so the nesting effect produces sizable object models to work with. So I'm not sure what the remedy is, though, because when you build a page, I'd never thought of it from the point of view of keeping that particular number down. But it is saying you're building pretty complex pages in a nutshell, I guess.
yeah.
I see here also serve static assets with efficient cache policy. Do you know what that means?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm using Cloudways as my CDN, and I'm guessing it has something to do with just how immediately available those are to it.
Yeah, I think what it's saying is that it found some resources that didn't seem to be behaving as static assets within a CDN.
Yeah.
In the same way that, when you're doing HTTPS or SSL, you can end up with what's referred to as mixed content. You've got something, some image, some script somewhere that's not, behind SSL. And so there it gets flagged as a result. It's not consequential, but it's just one of those things to, you have to debug.
I don't want to take up, I know I could see a couple other people have their hand up, so I'm just gonna be really quick with this because this.
It had to do with what you're saying.
Right. I don't have Facebook present on this site, but I see this inside of here, connect.facebook.net. And that has boggled me. And I guess I'm sort of wondering if that's normal, but sorry, Dale, I would love to hear what
Oh, no, it's just that you mentioned Generate Press.
Yeah.
And I've used that and even when it first began and whatever. Anyways, and it's a good little program, but it's very solid. And I use it only for simple things because if it gets too complicated, sometimes I have problems. And I'm wondering if that may be what's caused you. Because it's a good solid little program, but when I get a little fancy, like doing something a little odd, it sometimes doesn't like it.
Well, I also noticed a couple of things about the site. I see that you're using the Elementor site builder. That is known to add a lot of bloat to your site, and that's just the way it is. There's nothing you can do about that. Also, you're using Slider Revolution, which adds a lot of bloat as well. Sliders are something that you can generally get rid of, and you'll find not only improved performance, but improved engagement, user engagement with your site. So you kind of have to live with the bloat that Elementor is adding, but consider getting rid of Slider Revolution.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's been a big part of the kind of glitzy aspects of the site, but I hear that. I can definitely tell when I deactivate it, some of the issues go away. So thank you. Appreciate it.
You also have the option, if you want to have complex pages. It's a bit of a drastic option, so I'll just mention it briefly. And that is to turn some pages into static pages, which are in effect created and then sit on your site all ready to go as soon as they're requested. They don't have to go through the process of being built out of the database, using templates as usual and so on. But that's really, a last resort because it's fairly drastic, but it does solve problems of performance rather neatly because it eliminates the database and the lag that's produced as a result. But
interesting.
If you're tracking, if you're paying this much attention through Lighthouse and other things, I'm sure, you'll gradually work these things through. But I think Drew's point is very well taken that some of these tools like Elementor, the ease of use has a price, and the price is complexity added, that you don't see, but which has a performance impact. GeneratePress is well regarded. It's a solid theme. I wouldn't say it's a small one. I mean, there's lots of add-ons and so on, but what it is a theme that you build onto, as opposed to a theme which comes with 200 options. Pick the 50 that you like best. But you're safe in a manner of speaking in that GeneratePress is well regarded, well supported, lots of users, lots of people interested in it. So it gets attention and is kept up to date. I think it's also made the transition into the Gutenberg. It's making the Gutenberg transition by putting out blocks which work in the Gutenberg scheme, and which mean that you don't necessarily have to change your theme in order to take advantage of this thing called full site editing.
Very helpful.
It looks from just you sitting there that you have a degree of technical requirements to meet on the audio or music or production side. And so I'm sure some of that you learned by doing, right?
Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
Well, that's what WordPress is, right? Learn by doing. And so, if nothing else, we've sort of said to you, don't be slavish with the Lighthouse results or any of the analytics.
Yeah.
You've got good pieces and parts that you pick to work with. So, there's nothing big you have to tear out and replace or upgrade.
Yeah. I mean, this is the lowest performance score I've actually seen yet, but I think it's just because I reset my settings for Cloudways, but I had managed to get it all into the 90s and really only had a list of like 4 things left, and the DOM size was one of them. And I was like, I have no idea where to start to minimize this now that everything feels right on the site. And if there was plugins available that would sort of, compress code. I looked at combining JavaScript options and stuff like that, and then tended to kind of break something in some ways. So I was like, I might just have to live with there being some of these reports, which sounds like forgetting his name here who mentioned it, but yeah, that these are maybe more for the developer themselves to audit their own tools.
Yeah, one thing to also bear in mind is that the page speed, or the speed at which a page arrives, the statistics or targets that outfits like Google put out are not met by many people. And they're certainly not met for the biggest sites
Right.
with the most money to spend. Like I'm a regular reader of 2 Toronto newspapers plus the Times and the Wall Street Journal. Those are not 2-second page deliveries.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're 10 seconds, sometimes they're longer, and they pour millions of dollars into this exercise.
Mhm.
So in other words, be skeptical with people who say, oh, you got to hit this target for your page speed. It's more, I think, to my way of thinking, that it gets there in a reasonable time, but not at the expense of you tearing your hair out every time something changes.
Gotcha.
So I would just give you that as a bit of comfort and encouragement.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. Anything to add, Drew or Dale?
Well, yeah, I would echo that there's a point of diminishing returns in optimizing for speed. That there, you can get to a level of good enough, and then it's time to move on and work on other things like producing good content, and that'll get you better results than optimizing the nth degree of speed. Now we also have somebody else with their hand up.
And who would that be?
And that's Puya Dubash.
Okay, so let me ask to unmute. So, yes, Puya, please speak up. Tell us what's happening. What would you like?
Oh, hi, it's Adam. I'm sorry, I'm an intruder, I guess.
No, you're not. Well, not yet.
I didn't know anything about the WordPress, but anyway, I updated my website and then I constantly have the problem. So basically it's crushed. I don't know what to do now. So that's why I was.
Okay, so you have a WordPress site. You allowed, you updated the site to the latest version, or what? Just expand a little bit on what.
Yeah, so I upgrade the to the WordPress the latest version 5.9.2, and then also like I upgrade the PHP version as well. So it's 8.1.3. Before I think it's 5. So
just out of curiosity, did you check before you changed the PHP version to see if you were using anything that required any particular version of PHP?
Yes, I guess I didn't because I didn't understand. So I just stayed.
Yeah, there happens to be a plugin. I think it's called PHP compatibility.
Okay.
And what it does is it just checks to see what plugins and theme you're using, and if any of those require a particular lower version of PHP than the one you're checking, it'll just tell you so that you can fix it. So on a site a short while ago that I was looking at, we did the PHP check, and it turned out there was one widget that wouldn't work under 7.3 point something or other.
Oh,
so
okay.
Just replace that one thing, and then the transition to PHP worked fine. I mean, no problem apparently. But in any event, all of our other guys here will have something to say. But what are you getting are you getting a white screen rather than your website, or you're getting garbled pages, or can you get to your dashboard?
Okay, so it's like I don't know how to share the secret. It's like I have the page with all the codes. Like let me do a secret.
Sure, share your screen.
Oh shit, sorry.
And other people go ahead and jump in.
So I don't know how to share the secret, but I will send in the chat.
No, just in the middle bottom part of your window, you'll see a green icon, share screen, on your browser window, right at the bottom.
Okay.
Down.
Just 1 second.
Okay. And Puya, we'll come to you as soon as we're finished with Adam. It was my mistake. I didn't handle that very well.
Sorry.
No problem.
Let me see.
What are you looking for?
Okay, yeah. Whiteboard. Google.
Adam, perhaps if you could post a link to your site in the chat.
Oh, yes, that'll be perfect because you can see. Okay, so this is the link. So if I deactivate all the plugins, but if I make them active, the website will be all crashed.
Okay, so have you put your link in there? Let me just check everyone in meeting. I don't see your link here. Did you paste it into the chat window?
Yeah, I did. Oh, sorry, I didn't do to everybody. Just 1 second.
Yeah.
Everyone, okay, here.
There we go.
So right now, I deactivate all the plugins already.
Well, there's a procedure to follow to find the plugin or plugins that are causing the problem. But I've gone through this before, and I'd be happy if any of the other people in the session with us would like to speak to this point first. Please go ahead.
Okay, you know what? I can act the plugins dashboard.
Okay, so the site is running now without any plugins, and that's why we're seeing this page. And if you turn your plugins all back on active, then the site crashes. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, they will say like a fatal problem,
Right.
especially have this one.
Right now, do they give you, normally when you get an email, right? It says you have a
Yes.
technical problem, and they give you a link.
Yes, they give me
And
a
the
link,
lets you get into your admin page.
and then they told me this is like this the fatal problem. So, and then I cannot even go to my WordPress admin page. So
Okay,
if
I
I
thought you said
active all the
with your
plugins,
plugins off, you can get to your admin page, right?
yes, but if
Okay.
I put them on, they will locked.
Right. So here's what you do. I mean, here's the procedure you can follow if you don't know what's causing the problem. How many plugins have you got? Just approximately. Is it 10, 20, 30? How many?
Sorry?
How many plugins? do you
Oh,
have in
okay.
your site?
So it's
Approximately.
I think it's not that much, like 19, yeah.
Okay. So the procedure that I follow
Okay,
is to divide my list of plugins in half,
okay,
turn on one half.
okay,
Does the site work or not? Relying on the recovery link to get back in if the site, crashes. So what you're doing is you're taking 19 and you're cutting it in half and saying, is the problem in the top half? No
Okay.
problem there. It must be the bottom half.
okay,
Take the bottom half and cut it in half. Try a quarter now.
okay,
Does it crash? No. Well, it's not this quarter. It's the last quarter. Now you're down to
Okay.
5 plugins.
okay,
And then what you're doing is just by trial and error, identifying the plugin that's causing the crash,
okay,
at which point you can update the plugin, replace the plugin with something equivalent in function, or get rid of the plugin altogether and find a new way around the problem. But if it gets your site running again, in an hour, you can solve the problem.
Oh, okay, okay,
Adam, you can also get a clue. If you see error messages on your screen when the plugins are active, they can give you a clue about which plugin is causing the issue.
Okay.
So they will show a directory path. In that path will include, it'll say WP content, plugins, then a plugin name, and it'll go down to an actual executable file. So that should tell you what plugin is actually causing the problem when you see the error message.
Okay.
Drew, we have this error message in the chat. We have a chat message with an error message detail. Is that from Adam's site?
Yes.
Because if it is,
Okay, all right.
It
Let me
looks
have a
like,
look.
you know, there's plugins JS Composer. Well,
Yeah.
that sounds like the plugin problem, but isn't that a page builder?
I'm not aware of JS Composer. I remember
No,
Visual
like
Composer.
Visual
Yeah.
Composer might be called JS Composer in this kind of a path. But in any event, with this error message, Adam, it's identifying a plugin. We just don't know what JS Composer is, but you can find that out easily
Okay.
by going to the folder, the directory in which all your plugins are located,
Okay.
which, as I recall, is WP-content/
Yes.
plugin?
Like
I think it's just plugins. I mean, I don't look at the labels anymore.
Actually, I'm just wondering if any professionals can help me fix after, or I can book a one-on-one appointment
Sure, no problem.
um,
That's easily enough accomplished.
I mean, I can trade your time or for whatever I can do. It just
If it's a problem that can be solved in an hour, then I don't see that being a problem. Send me a direct message with your email address in it, and I'll give you mine. I'd be happy to give that to the group. It doesn't matter.
sure. I think that'll be really good, because I'm a designer. I'm working in the fashion, so I don't really know the website.
Enough said. Easy
Yeah.
enough to,
Yeah.
So is that you, Drew? Somebody said JS Composer is WP Bakery. Yeah.
No,
Well, it used to be
that's
called
Michelle.
Yeah, it used to be called Visual Composer, I think, or maybe that's the new name for it, or the old name. I can't remember which. You can remove the plugin, and then it should work. Then downgrade your PHP and install the plugin again. Well, that's good advice.
Yeah. Are you by any chance using an old version of WP Bakery?
Yes, I think I was. I hope I could go back to the original version and hoping it worked, but I don't understand how to do it, because basically I don't really know.
Yeah, no, you don't have to. We know the circumstances you're in. It's something that most of us deal with on a day-to-day basis. So did you give me your email address?
Yes, I think I sent it to you. I can send it to everybody.
Right, I don't. Oh, there it is. Okay, I see it.
Yeah, that's my email.
Sometimes these things.
I can also give me my WordPress confidential and GoDaddy information, because I tried, but I don't understand.
Yeah, not to worry. GoDaddy is your host?
Yes.
Okay, so there's my email address. Anyway, not to worry. From what we've just seen here in the chat message, deactivating this particular plugin, do the PHP change, try the plugin again, is very simple and straightforward. And if that solves a problem, great.
Okay.
You always look for one should hope, the simplest solution.
Okay.
All right, so that's good. So you're in good shape for the moment, at least.
Yeah,
And
thank you
we
for
had
your
some-
information. I really appreciate that.
No problem. Who did we had Puya, who had a question, and I should have gone to her next, but instead of Adam. But anyway, Puya, are you there?
Hi guys, my name is Puya, as you all know. Just wanted to introduce myself. I myself develop WordPress websites, been doing that since the past 8 years. And now I am professionally optimizing websites since the past 5 years. And I optimize websites with regards to GT Matrix, Lighthouse, Google PageSpeed, and all of that stuff. So just want to introduce myself and help the community as much as I can and bring my expertise on board as well. So yeah, thank you for hosting all of this.
So did you have anything, did you hear the session, or at least the part about, wasn't Adam, Ross and
Yes.
his issue with Lighthouse? Anything to add to? what we
Yes,
talked about?
I did, but I just couldn't speak up because I wanted to first introduce myself, and so I've already replied to Ross what his error is in the chat message. So if Ross is still around, he can take a look at it. The problem is with your Image Map Pro, because what that is doing is that it's programmed in a way whereby it's monitoring the mouse movement. So because of that, your event listener error is popping up because you have an extra event listener which is just monitoring where the mouse is going and all of that stuff. So if your focus is to generate good speed, then you need to disable the plugin. So do this: disable the plugin, optimize the site again. You're using VP Rocket, right? So what you need to do is clear the cache, run the home page on an incognito mode so that it generates the cache for it, and then do the page test again, and that error should go away. But in all honesty, the thing that you really need to focus on is your core web vitals. They need to be in the orange. If you can get green, that's awesome. But if you can't, orange is good. In terms of page ranking, as you said, you mentioned that it's something to do with page ranking and all. As of, I think it's as of Feb, Google is now taking into consideration desktop page speed, not mobile, desktop page speed. So if your desktop is good, it's in the green, that means you're good to go. But that is only in effect with websites who Google is like ranking and have competitors and all of that stuff. So there are lots of algorithms in place. So again, you have to give away something, as I believe Drew rightfully mentioned, that I think you have to give away something in order to gain that extra bit of speed. And in your case, it's the Image Map Pro.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Wow,
think I'll have to
I'm
keep
impressed.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess this is what we call, what do you call it? Crowdsourcing of a sort on a tiny scale. Good. Do let us know, Ross, if that turns out to be the secret to your headache going away. Post a comment and tell us.
Yeah, I mean, I do know, I have tested it exactly as the way Puya had just mentioned. The problem is I need the plugin on because it's doing a very specific function that shows our user interface and gives people the user navigation. So when they hover their mouse over X feature, it explains it to them. So I guess what I was hoping would be the case is that there's some way that I could override that as an error and more or less tell Google, this is an intentional active listener and it shouldn't be passive and it shouldn't be presented as something unintentional, like if there's some script to add. Yeah.
I would suggest opening a support ticket with the plugin developer, because this is something that they probably have to do.
I did do that as well. Yeah.
If I may, what you can do is, if you're using VP Rocket, which I know you are,
yeah.
What you can do is go to the delay JavaScript option, take the name of the script file, which is in your case image-map-pro.min.js. Okay.
Yeah.
Take that, add it as a delay script.
Delay script. Yeah.
Yeah. So that should solve the problem. But there's another problem. when you do that, chances are at times the trigger, it might not occur. Depending on what the device the guy is using, the person is using, it might not just work. So you're looking at a drop in accuracy, but that's what you have to give away to get that good
Yeah.
score, right?
That's the trade-off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it a lot.
Right. Any other hands that are up to?
Yes, we have a hand raised by Blair.
Blair.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Blair.
I'm going to move my lamp to look a little dark there. Hi, everyone. I'm a novice, a WordPress novice. I'm helping my wife set up a blog. And I have a very specific problem. When she has a post, we want to be able to display either the category or the tag with the post. So for example, if she writes some articles about health or some about family, we want to be able to show health or family along with the post. So you know which category you're looking at.
Right. This should be pretty straightforward, guys. Who
I would
wants to
think
handle
so.
this? No, I mean, it's a basic sort of thing that many people, probably half of the people who write posts,
Yeah.
want either or both of categories or keywords, tags,
Yeah.
to be displayed either at the top
Yep.
or the bottom or the sidebar or whatever.
And another problem for me is that I don't know any coding, so I don't want to change the PHP or I don't want to do any Java. So I've looked at plugins, but some of them get way too complicated for me.
Yeah, that kind of thing is actually controlled in your theme.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be in your theme settings,
Okay.
probably under content. And every theme arranges their theme settings a little differently, so I can't direct you specifically, other than to look through your theme settings related to content.
Okay.
And how posts are displayed.
Okay.
And often those things can be turned on and off.
Okay. I'm using Elementor with their basic template, whatever it's called. Forget what it's called.
Hello, I think it's called, isn't it?
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Yeah.
It turns out that there is a website called wpbeginner.com,
Mm-hmm.
which is very good quality and geared specifically for you and the vast number of people who like to get in and learn things by doing them.
Yeah.
So I just Googled add categories to WordPress posts.
Mm-hmm.
And the second hit was how to add categories and subcategories in WordPress.
Okay.
To do this, go to posts, all posts, select the post you want to add, blah, blah, blah. Now, I think that's starting off by just saying, how do you apply the categories to the post?
Right.
You're saying, how do I display them? But you see what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
Drew's right that a theme may well have the setting to turn that on or off as
Okay.
something that the theme developer thought was important.
Right.
Or it may need to be added, but plugins that add that sort of functionality don't ask much of you other than, install me by clicking this button, now click this button, now you're done kind of thing. It's not a complicated process.
Like
I'm
I
just
said,
looking for something that will, how do I categorize?
Yeah.
Yeah.
the other thing is, my second question is, I'm just looking for somebody that I can reach out to occasionally when I have these sorts of questions. We'd be willing to pay somebody. So if there's anybody in the chat that wants to communicate with me, I'd appreciate it. We only have a few things that maybe come up every month. I try and handle everything myself.
Well, I'll give you my email address and
Okay.
You send me yours back and we'll find something to work for you. I know that some of the guys here do this sort of stuff. Plus there's lots of people who've are willing to, help, especially if it's just casual sort of stuff
Yeah.
to keep somebody up and running. So I've sent you my address, send you back yours.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And as far as, getting the post on, check your, what is your theme again? Which theme?
It's hello. I think you're
Oh,
right.
it's the Elementor Hello,
Yeah, it's an Elementor theme.
right? And is it, are you the one who actually does things on the site, or is it your wife?
No, I do it on the site. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, I think we can get that sorted out pretty straightforward. And has anybody got anything to add to what we've been talking about? No?
I would say I'm very surprised that this is not a standard WordPress feature.
Well, it is a standard
the
WordPress
new-
feature,
the new
just that
version of
every
WordPress.
plugin implements it, every plugin or every theme implements it a different way.
But saying that WordPress has that functionality already built in.
Well, the
No, that the themes
underlying
build it in.
functionality, the infrastructure is there.
Okay.
Like you don't have to create
Yeah.
what's referred to as a taxonomy, a set
Right.
of categories. That mechanism is already in place.
Okay. Yeah.
And assigning a category to a post is trivial. I mean, it appears a list
Yeah.
beside the post when you're editing the post.
Which we do right now. Yeah.
Right. Now, what we're talking about is modifying a template.
Yeah.
And what Drew is saying is that, in effect, templates are what the theme provides.
Right.
And so there may well be a template with this already in it, and you just don't know to use it.
I don't have to tell you, when it comes to sidewalk.
Uh-oh.
That's the simplest thing.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Okay,
No problem.
I'm okay with that answer. Okay.
Okay, good. So who's next? I see Fern lurking there in the background.
If no one, I can go if someone's not going.
Oh, we have another
Um,
hand up from Puya, I think.
Okay,
Yes, let's do that because well, I think that was to introduce himself. Drew?
Oh, and I'm not seeing it anymore.
No,
Yeah,
when a
No,
person-
sorry, I just raised my hand to answer the question
right,
that
I put his hand down, Drew. You can do that in the list.
Oh, okay.
The participants list. When you
Okay.
see the hand up, if you hover over it, it'll say lower the hand. Because
Okay.
we never remember if I put my hand up, I never remember to put it down again. You just forget, right? But the host sees the hand and can put it down. So Puya, how are you on CSS?
very good.
Well, we've got a lady here, Fern, who I bet you dollars to donuts has a CSS problem.
Sure, fire away.
no, today I'm just replacing the main video on my homepage. I've improved it a lot and changed the name of the company. So I made changes on it. It was a big deal getting that all done. And then I had to put it on YouTube. So I now have to just replace it. So if it's I've got the link, I've got the link to embed it. It just, I know my theme might have its own special ways of embedding it, but if we can do it in a few minutes, like really fast, fine. If not, I've got, I bookmarked, my theme talks about how you embed their video with their theme. So, I mean, I have it bookmarked I have it bookmarked for the articles on how to embed it. So it's just, I've got the link ready on YouTube. I just need to replace it.
Okay.
It's the same video, but much better now. That's all.
Okay,
So should I do that then now?
if you can.
So it's not a CSS thing.
I was
No, I
being a
know,
bit
I know what it
facetious.
is.
Well, whatever. Okay, we'll try. Okay. All right. So, okay. Like, the first thing I'll do is just go to the home page, the editor, correct? And then we need the YouTube video, and then that's all I need. So I had everything ready to go up and but when I went to YouTube, my started playing music on my YouTube, and I wasn't muted, so I had everything in tabs. So now it's all gone. So let's see. I'll just get to the. This is how I get to the editor. It takes an extra minute. I'm just used to doing it this way. Okay, sorry about this, but I'm
Okay.
fast at doing it the long way. So you see, I've got all these different versions of my websites here. This is the current one that I disabled now because there's a new one. This is the current one that's live. So here's the new name and the new this, new that. So here's the new, okay. So I'll go to pages. I don't need content block. I only use content block for all the slides in the hero images. That uses content block to edit it. So this is pages. So I don't mind having it both ways. I'm used to using both types of editors, one for the top, one for the page. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go see. Yeah.
Okay. You need to
should
first maximize this because
Here, this is where the video is. Here.
Okay. So just edit it.
Well, wait. I don't have my YouTube, link ready to go. I have to go to YouTube in one of the tabs.
Okay.
So, all right. So here's the video. That's where it is. It's centered on the page. And so I want to just put in the new one that I put in. So,
Okay. So click on the edit.
well, there's so many edits. You mean?
I wish I could move the mouse.
Okay. Let
No,
me think.
You can,
Can
on
I?
a share screen.
You see how
I
it's
don't know
centered?
about
There's
it.
three
Anyway.
columns,
Yeah.
and it was centered
Okay,
in the middle. So
Click on the pencil.
here,
Yes, that's the edit. Click on it.
it's tricky though, because the theme likes to get involved. You know what I mean? Okay, so that would be the current one running.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so I'll exit out. Right,
Right.
I'll exit out.
We want to put in a YouTube video, correct?
Yeah, I have a new. It's the same video, but it's a new link. Because every time you make changes, you have to have a new link.
Mhm.
A new
Okay.
URL.
Okay. So this is okay. Go to extra. Let me see what there is.
Go to where?
Extra. There's a tab. Extra.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah, I
bit
don't
tricky
think-
because
No. Close this. Close this. You don't need a single media. I think what you need is
right. Okay.
So add. Click on the plus. Right where the pencil is. Do you see a plus? No. No. Come down a bit. Down a bit. Yeah. That plus. Yeah. Give me that. Click it.
Oh, is that in that whole thing? Is that?
Yes, it'll go in that place. So what we're going to do is we're going to first add the video and then we're going to remove the single image. So
But the
what we need
block's
to
already
do,
there. The block's already there, right? I mean, we don't need to add a block now.
no, because what you've added is a single image. So that will only allow you to add an image to it. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to add a video, correct?
Yeah, Puya, the way this is the undesigned theme called Uncode.
Uncode. Yes, undesigned. Yeah.
Made by a company called Undesign.
Let-
They have basically rewritten WP Bakery and included it, and they have completely changed the way that the media library works. And so they have a very weird way of encoding, of putting in videos. Instead of putting it directly into the site.
I think you're selecting. I think it's something. I think it's here. I'm not
No,
sure.
What they've done is it's now for this theme, it's a two-step process. The first step is to put the video as an element into the media library, and then take it from the media library and put it onto the page. And that will include all of the elements, including the thumbnail, the video itself, and it will give you various types of formatting and video control elements. So they've done this totally differently from everybody else.
I have the instructions here. Embed, uncode, video options, uncode if you need it. I just have them ready to go up.
So Drew, what you're saying is that you have to serve the video file from your site or server rather than from YouTube, correct?
No, you don't. But you
But you just said add it to your media library.
you add it to your media library, but you add it as a link to your media library, and then
Oh, okay,
you-
gotcha. So let's do that now then with the, to get
Okay.
the new link on board.
Okay, so what's my next step?
Where exactly are you adding this? Are you adding this to your main page?
This is my homepage now.
I already see a video. I mean, I see
This
a
is the one, this is the one that's on there now.
yeah,
right?
yeah. So that's a YouTube video that I can see on your page already.
Yeah, this is it, and I'm just replacing it for a bit. I improved on it. So I know that I X that out, but then how do we add the YouTube video? We have to go to YouTube to get my YouTube video, and then
Okay,
Alright.
Fern, go and
Yeah.
get the URL for the video.
okay,
And Drew, why don't you pick up the ball now and just get it into the media library and then come bring us back to where we are now so that that can be updated. Please.
okay. So I go to manage videos, is that
I
right?
don't have to tell you when it comes to
Actually,
sidewalk
Do I go to
Fern,
manage videos?
choosing.
Jern, you should be able to figure that out.
To get me to go.
Drew, are you there?
Yep. Yeah, we've
Okay,
got.
I'll go. Okay, I just took the
somebody-
volume off. Okay, so here's the new video right here.
But we don't need you
You
to
hear
take
me?
us through this. Just get the URL and come back.
Oh.
We don't need to listen to you while
Here's the
you.
video right here.
Mhm.
Right, everything must be handheld. Okay, I got it.
Here's the video right here. I want to get rid of the sound on my YouTube right now. Anyway, here's the video right here.
All right, so get the URL and let's go.
Okay. Just by clicking on the video or,
Probably want to click on edit on the pencil, and
Okay.
that should actually display.
yeah, I'm
the,
asking because here it is. You're right. That's the fastest way to get it. Okay. So here it is.
There's your link.
Okay.
I think you want to copy
Have-
it.
Uh-oh. What should I do now?
All right.
Should I copy it here?
No. Well,
Oh, okay,
actually,
so
that
let's
one,
go
that
back.
one you can copy.
I can?
Yeah, you can copy that.
Okay, I'll copy it. Get out of there. I don't know how to get rid of the sound. Okay, so now what do I do? Okay, should I X this out?
I think just wait until you're told the next
To X
step,
that out first?
rather than guessing and fumbling in this way. So either Drew or Priya can pick up the ball now. What about this select URL box down at the bottom there?
I can't
Is
hear
that
you.
not something fairly useful? Actually, Drew, we've been through this exercise before, didn't we, 2 months ago?
It seems familiar.
Right, and
I
wasn't
think
it just a question of finding the right button to pop the URL in?
I
And
Well,
then
I
except
can't
we
hear
did it-
you.
We did it wrong 2 months ago. That was the problem.
all right,
Okay, I'll X that out. Okay,
are
And
you,
now?
Fern? I think you're asking for help, so I think you should just wait until we figure out the next step.
okay, the
So
music
stop,
is so
just
loud, I
stop and
can't hear
stand
what you're
still.
saying.
Fern?
Yeah.
Hello, Fern.
Yes,
Are you there, Fern?
no. I muted out the sound. Hold on, let me try something else.
Fern, I'm
Uh,
speaking to you. Please listen.
let me get rid of this.
Actually, why am I pissing around with this? All right, now while Fern's working on that, guys, let's figure out the next step. And with Fern, I think you need to basically say, the next step is X. And after that step, now let's do
Hello,
step
can you hear
Y.
me now?
Now let's do step Z. She will play with the UI here and drive us crazy. So we have the URL, right? So now we just need to know where to put it. So I'll unmute her again. And Which is it, Drew or Puya that's going to pick up the ball?
Okay, I'll take it from here. Okay, Fern, are you there?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, I'm sorry for
Okay.
all that, but I had all the music playing from everywhere. I couldn't even hear you.
Fern, let's just move this forward.
Okay,
Okay, do we have the correct link?
the current what?
Do we have the link to the URL for the video that you wanted?
Yeah, I believe it's here.
Okay. All right, that's good.
I think
All right,
it's here.
Let's go into the media library,
Okay.
and that's on the left side, just above pages.
It's the
Oh, yeah.
fourth item.
Mhm.
Add new.
Oh, right. Okay.
Just that, wait until you're told, Vern. Don't jump
Okay,
around
okay.
like this.
Okay.
Go ahead, Drew.
All right, let's have a look at I want to add I'm going to add multimedia. So that's under library, under the video library on the left, there's an add multimedia option. If you scroll up a bit, and you'll see, if you look up, you'll see a thing that says add multimedia.
Yeah, I don't recall doing that.
Yeah, we haven't done this before.
No, but when I did
Anyway,
the
let's
last
get it
one.
done, Fern, and then comment as you
Okay.
like. Let's not
Okay.
comment during this process, please.
Okay.
Okay, so click add multimedia. We've done that.
Okay, and
Wait until you're told, Fern.
we're going to insert from URL. So you see there's a white box there right under the title that says insert from URL. And in that box, we're going to paste the title.
The title.
Or sorry, we're going to paste the URL.
Right here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to play this, but it starts playing one of my radio commercials and I can't hear you.
Well, so we just need to copy the URL
Yeah.
into that.
Okay. Okay. So I'll go to manage videos like I did before.
Didn't occur to you to paste that URL.
Okay,
somewhere,
here it
did
is. Here it is.
Goodness. No, okay. Stop. Okay, take over now, Drew. How does she get the URL from the video link there? What
Okay.
does she do?
You see where the video link is in the right hand column.
Yeah.
And just to the right of that, there is a thing that
Yeah. Yeah.
copies it to the clipboard. So if you copy that.
Okay,
to the
done.
clipboard, and then we'll go back to your website.
Oh, how do we get back there now?
Back to that tab. It's
It's the tab that
third
says
tab.
add multimedia.
Add multimedia.
Okay.
That tab. Okay. Now we're going to paste from the clipboard into that box.
Do I go to paste or is it already copied? It's ready to go.
You have to paste.
I have to paste it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. There we go. And
Okay.
okay.
That looks
there we
right.
go. Now let's give it a title. So
Okay.
there's a field for a title.
Okay.
That's required, so we do have to enter that.
Do you really want all caps for a title?
No. No. Okay.
I have
Okay.
caps lock on every
Okay.
keyboard I've ever used. Turned
All
off.
right. Okay, so now let's save it So that over on the right, there's a button that says
Yeah,
save.
and I can
no
change that
caption,
title.
Drew? There's no
Pardon me?
I
caption?
can change the title anytime I want.
Yes, you can.
That would be probably stretching
so-
our imagination a bit, but it's technically possible.
Let's walk before we run.
Item added to
Update.
library. Well done.
Do you have to update if you want anything to happen?
Mm,
Uh,
okay. All right. So it looks like we're good here.
Where
how
did it
come we
go?
lost the URL?
Yeah,
Mind you, it's giving you a permalink.
Let's have a look at the library. Let's have a look at the library.
oh, what about
listings
updating?
again.
Should I update it? Usually you update everything you do, you do something.
Only if you've made a change. The only
Well,
reason-
I deleted the other one.
We haven't made a change to this record, so we don't want to
Okay.
update it.
Okay,
Well, let's go
Okay.
and have a look at the library. And we should see.
It does
10
say
best-
item added to library, so
Yeah,
there it is.
oh, there it is.
yeah. There we
Good,
go.
good.
YouTube. 10
Well
best
done,
secrets.
Drew.
Okay.
Attaboy.
Okay, now we're going to go back to the page where you wanted to
Okay.
enter this video.
Okay, so it's not in a tab or anything, or is it up here? No, no. I don't know if that's a tab or I don't know, but I'll just go to
That's
pages.
the tab we're on.
This one here?
Yeah, that's the current tab
Oh,
that
okay,
we're
so
on.
I'll go to pages. Okay, just quickly go to home page. Okay. Um, There, it takes a minute for you to get the stuff, the items, past the code. Okay, so,
Okay, so we want to you've got a single media item here. We probably want to get rid of that one. That's the existing one.
well, just wait. Yeah, you delete it. That helps you delete it, and then I don't know. Then could we then? If you deleted it, then you go plus, and that takes you to the library. So, and then you add media, and that takes you to your library. And there it is.
Mhm.
I don't know if this is going to work.
There you go.
Should I click on it then?
Yeah, go
Or-
ahead and it'll add it, and you'll end up with two. So you probably want to then get rid of one of them.
Oh, add media.
Yeah.
That's the one. I mean, I deleted the other one. I don't know how I could end up with two.
And actually, I guess the page title is just for the media item itself. It isn't for the use in this box because the title field is blank.
I'm going to go ahead and just update to see if we got what we, if we got it. Now, okay, now I view the page. Should I view the page now? I mean,
Sure.
or did you
okay.
want?
No,
check
if
anything first?
if it's been saved, yeah.
Yeah. That's the new one.
Okay.
Yeah. Should I play it and see if it's working? Or?
No, of course. Yeah, sure. Turn it on. I mean,
Okay.
Okay, that's enough.
Okay.
Wouldn't prefer to have it wider because that's a pretty narrow sort of column.
Oh, yeah, and I do worry about mobile. So how would there's 3 columns there. How would we make it bigger? It could be bigger. Do you know?
I think if you make it mobile, you can
Make it-
find out, rather if you make it full
It's
width.
3 columns, so it's in the center. So I wonder how you would make it bigger. Anybody
Well,
know?
just make it 1 column.
Because it's the width of the column.
Right. So if you replace 3 columns with 1 column, the 1 column can be full width. Anyway, you can find out how responsive your theme is by just looking at the mobile version. And if it plays, it should shrink it down to fit the width of the mobile device. But the test is just to view it and find out. And Elementor provides for that, right? Isn't it still in the bottom left-hand corner at the bottom of the page where you get the choice of which desktop, tablet, or mobile?
Yeah, this is in.
Okay, can you
WP
hear me
Bakery.
now?
Oh, sorry, is this WP Bakery?
Yeah.
Can you hear me
And-
now?
Yeah, we can hear you. And it's WP Bakery, and it's this theme's modified version of it.
Because if you have 3 columns, you just shrink 2 of them to nothing, and then the one that's left could take up the rest of the space. But any
Sorry, did you figure out a way that I could make it bigger?
well, change it from 3 columns to 1 column.
Oh, 3 columns to 1 column. Okay, so that's the solution. But
Well,
then
the
it would
reason
be,
you've got 3 columns presumably is because you wanted it to be small.
right, well,
So
I'm
just
wondering though,
add a
I
row.
can't imagine,
Add a row.
well, I'm asking you,
above.
would it be
Okay,
very
well, try listening now.
overpowering?
Add a row above this one into which you put 1 column, drag this one into the single full width column that you just added, and then delete the old 3 column row as no longer being needed.
That's
There you go.
fine. Do you think it would be overpowering to be as wide of the full width of the screen?
I don't know. It does look
True.
kind of small given your gigantic titles.
Yeah, Yeah, I
I've
see what
never
you
seen
mean.
titles that large before. So why not
But
have
which-
the biggest video? I mean,
which
look how
title
big
do you-
this image is. Anyway, that's kind of something you should be more knowledgeable about than us, right? Because you're the designer.
yeah.
All those full caps though, that's amazing because in the
What?
web world, all caps is regarded as shouting. And so your page is full of shouting. In fact, I would rank it as a screamer. Now, maybe this is this, I don't know, I suppose I'm going to cause myself a real problem here, but I don't know, anybody, other suggestions, but I would tone down the gigantic titles and screaming text in favor of something more conversational and more personal. Personal meaning human to human rather than, you know, sound stage blasting into an auditorium. Anyway,
There
you
are,
didn't ask for
there
that
are,
advice, and so my advice is as valuable as what you're paying for it in this regard.
well, there are many soft sell parts of the website. It's just in the middle of development right now, but there's a lot of soft sell stuff as well. But the theme came with, these were all caps in the theme here. This animation.
Wow. Fern, I just never seen anything quite as gigantic as this, and it's stunning. I mean, if it
Yeah.
worked, it'd be great.
Well, you see my video of myself talking, I didn't want myself to be gigantic. Like, I'm not a millennial,
well,
you know
yeah,
what
but I mean, you know, the size of your titles and the size of your video really aren't directly correlated.
Well, you made a good point to match the whole visual of the graphic, the consistency. So let's make it 1 column then.
Right, but I would give some serious thought to your titling, and you know, what I find very helpful is since we all spend lots of time on the web, when I find a site that is a pleasing page, has a pleasing page or post to read, I make a note of it and I check the typography and I note that, gee, you know, that's a much bigger font than I would have had for body copy, but I think these people know more than I do, and I really like this.
Well,
And so I'm simply saying to you is that if I ran across your site, I would get off of it fairly quickly because it was just because somebody's shouting in my ear and I don't like that.
well, first of all, I'm selling Toronto here. I'm selling the two brands.
Anyway,
the
I don't think
and
this
the
is
Standard.
something to debate,
I know.
you know, one opinion versus another. I mean, you hear my feedback, accept
Yeah.
it, reject it, do whatever, but it isn't something we're going to discuss to a resolution, I would say. I'm happy
So-
to hear, guys, from anybody else with an opinion here.
Well, what about this video? It's just a text video with a few little images in it. It's just a
I
text
think,
video.
Fern,
you
we
know what-
used up the time allotted for you, and it's time for us to motor on. Please.
Yeah, we have a hand up from Jack Alexander.
Jack, please, has he
Yep.
been unmuted, or
Can you hear me?
I can hear somebody here? Jack.
Yeah, no,
yes, if you'd stop sharing. There we are. Jack. How's
Hi.
Jack this evening?
Good. Thank you very much. You hear me well?
Yep. Have you
right.
enjoyed the session so far?
Yes, thank you. My first time. I have a quick question, hopefully. I don't think this is something that, I hope this is something that a seasoned WordPress vet can answer easily. WordPress registers thumbnail sizes. Certain plugins also do. I'd like to know how to tell if what the thumbnail sizes that are registered are still are registered by a plugin that's still active, or if they were left behind erroneously by a plugin that was deactivated, but the sizes remained. Case in point, what I have is I have the 3 standard WordPress sizes, small, medium, large, and then I use Divi for my theme. So I have the Divi thumbnail sizes that it creates, which is quite a bit. They create something like 8 or 10 different ones. And then I have 3 other ones that are kind of odd. And I was wondering if, first of all, how to find out where they came from. Secondly, how to remove them if they are just leftovers from something else. Because what I do is I use the paid plugin, Short Pixel, to compress my images. And that's going to be 3 extra images every single time for Short Pixel to do. That's my question.
Interesting question. I don't think there's anything built into WordPress to assist you in finding where images are used, although, as I come to think of it now, images are considered attachments, post attachments. And so in a listing of posts, you should be able to find out the images by just simply opening the column up that lists the images in posts. But that's a tedious exercise. Media Library doesn't offer much in the way of tools to manage the images themselves. So you want to ID who created those extra 3 images, right?
Not the images, but the image sizes, right? So when you upload an image,
what I'm saying is 3 sizes for 3 additional sizes for every image.
For thumbnails, yeah.
Right, but you're asking, I don't know who created them or what plugin created them, so you're not sure if removing them will cause a problem or not, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I believe they're not useful, just because I went through everything and I Googled around and I saw that WordPress comes with a 3. Then I looked at a few of the plugins that I have, and then I saw what Divi creates, and Divi names its thumbnail sizes appropriately as well. So they're named, it's created by element something or other. So it's from Divi. The 3 that are just there, that are just weird sizes, they're like 1500 by 1500 or something like that. And there's no name to them. It just says 1500 by 1500. So
there's got to be a a file name though associated with them, isn't there? Or you're just saying in the abstract, there are these three sizes, so you're assuming there are images out there that match those sizes?
I haven't looked for the images. I see them in the list.
So they may not even exist, the images we're referring to. In other words,
no.
if you had 3 images ABC, you're saying that for ABC, there may be 3 extra ones created for each of those ABC, but there may not be.
No, there are, because I see that list in the short pixel list of thumbnails, right? Okay. So for each, and I can actually go in there and tell short pixel to ignore those 3 sizes. But I was wondering if there's an actual elegant way to look at what sizes are registered with WordPress and how to manage that and potentially remove them.
Was there not at one time a regenerate thumbnails plugin? Although I don't remember it actually removing old.
I don't recall that as the primary purpose of a plugin, but I've run across a number of plugins that have that as a feature.
Yeah, right? And I have that too. I have a regenerate thumbnails plugin, which is obviously advisable to do before you do the compression, because you want to make sure that all the plugins are up to date with the proper sizes. And it does remove the unused plugins according to the list of registered thumbnail sizes. That's why
there are plugins specifically to identify unused or duplicate images. There's 2 or 3 plugins that do that. So that may be one way to check to see if those images have been created and are in use. But the underlying problem is, are they being produced unnecessarily as a matter of course by some plugin? Okay, before we get to that, the ugly solution to the problem is to take file names from the media library and simply look in the database and see where they are and what they're associated with. That's an easy thing to search for if all you're doing is searching the database. You don't risk anything by just looking in the database as long as you don't modify anything. So that's one way to do it. The plugins that find duplicates or unused images are another route to sort of flush the thing out. How many plugins do you have?
I was actually changing themes, so I got new plugins and I deactivated a bunch. Right now I have probably about 8 deactivated and another 8 to 10 that I'm using, and I will delete them once I'm fully done with them, because I just switched to Divi recently.
Okay, so
a lot of them are not, they wouldn't create thumbnail sizes, they wouldn't register thumbnail sizes, things like, you know, the page duplicator thing, and like stuff like that. It wouldn't.
Yeah. So the question is there a way to identify which of those guys though could be creating or requiring these, whether they're being produced or not, right? So one way is to look at the most likely plugin culprits in your half dozen that are left and look at their documentation to see if they make mention of that.
Right.
Other than searching for that, I mean, I'm trying to think of a formulated query, but if it is, if you entered the name of a plugin plus this question of, one of the sizes that it creates automatically, and see what Google comes back with. Does it identify a plugin and say, that's a feature of plugin X? I mean, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, I did some Googling, but I didn't come across anything specific like that. But I can definitely look further into the documentation.
Right, but the key is you gotta find something associated with these images, their sizes, a standard way of naming them, something that you can particularize your Google query so that it'll return a plugin that's associated with it. Sometimes it's by just looking at the source version, the source view of a page or post that has something in it that you want to check, and getting out of the code itself the name of a class or something formulated by either a plugin or a theme that can be Googled to identify the theme or plugin.
Right.
Does
Are you
anybody-
aware
I
of
mean,
a-
I'm not making much of a useful suggestion here, but I'd be happy to hear from anybody else amongst us tonight who has a thought.
Does anyone know of a pretty much a brute force way to like edit an actual raw code file where those thumbnail sizes are registered to change that? Do you guys know where they're registered?
Sorry, it's Puya here. My mobile died. So quick question I wanted to ask you, Jack. Why do you want to do this? Because at the end of the day, my question is, why do you want to go and mess about with your thumbnail images and all, unless there's a specific thing that you're trying to achieve over here? Otherwise, if I was in your shoes, I would just not touch them, because I have done this before for a client, and surprisingly, we just lost a few images. What happens, right? And then we had to make a backup and all of that stuff. So my question is, why do you want to do this? What is the end game over here?
Like I described, so Short Pixel or any plugin that you use for compressing images, right, to make them load faster, they will compress the original image and they will compress every thumbnail that was created when you upload to WordPress. When you upload an image to WordPress, it automatically creates all the registered thumbnail sizes. So number one, it wastes space doing that. And number two, you then, especially with a paid plugin like Short Pixel, where you pay kind of per image, you're wasting basically 3 image conversions if you have 3 erroneous thumbnail sizes registered, right? So there are 2 things that I'd like to avoid here. Like I mentioned, with Short Pixel, you can simply go into the menu and tell it not to create those specific thumbnail sizes, but that still doesn't really solve the issue of every single image will have 3 extra images created automatically by WordPress.
Yeah.
If the thumbnail sizes are erroneous, right? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, so I think what you need to do is you need to take a look at your theme and see what thumbnail sizes the theme is generating. There are some themes like Newspaper that actually has an option to turn off different sizes of thumbnails. But depending on the theme, you need to know what size thumbnails is generating, and you can ask the theme developer for it. And based on that, whatever new images you upload, you can then enable the sizes that it needs to optimize. So I'm guessing that should answer your question.
I did that. So I know which thumbnail sizes of the ones that are registered by the theme. And yes, you can disable some of them if you'd like in the theme settings. The ones that I'm talking about were not from the theme. And that's why I'm wondering if they were left, because I couldn't find anything that I have currently that would correlate with those sizes. And that's why I'm wondering if they were left behind by something from before. And now they need to be just simply unregistered as thumbnail sizes for WordPress, because they're not coming from the theme itself.
Well, I'm finding quite a bit on Google, just adding and using WordPress custom image sizes, add new image sizes in WordPress, how to get a list of all possible thumbnail sizes set. Here's a good one. Get all the registered image sizes along with their dimensions. And then there's a WordPress ticket. Found it here. The answer is, global $sign, and well, it's some function. Anyway, I'll give you just the.
Yeah, definitely. I'll take a look. But I've seen a lot of that when I was looking. I definitely know I see the list of the registered ones. I just haven't been able to find how to actually either find out where they're from or how to remove them, or if it's maybe not worth doing, like Puya mentioned.
And so where are you finding them? Where is this information coming from?
Well, one way is Short Pixel actually gives me a list of the registered thumbnail sizes. So that's one way.
It doesn't tell you where they're registered. Presumably they're in the functions.php file. I mean, where else can you register something?
Yeah, that's what I don't know, right? So that's what I'm.
Well, I'm saying that's where you register things. That's where whatever the functions are that are performed and need settings, then that's where they go. There's no other place.
Okay.
So that's certainly one place to look and see what exactly is in there. Does anybody here have any experience with looking for that in functions.php? I guess not.
I appreciate your time. Thank you anyway. I'll definitely look at that, and I'll continue looking through given everything that you told me.
Okay, sorry we couldn't give you like a definitive answer, but
Yeah. That's all right. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
okay. All right. So how are we doing? It's 8:18. I guess we have time for one more. Does anyone have their hand up, Drew?
Not that I can see.
Gee, I wish we could have come up with a more definitive answer for Jack, because he
Wait a
really
minute.
did formulate his question, right?
Troy has their hand up.
Troy. Yes, Troy. Troy to the front. There's
Yes.
Troy.
Hello.
Hi, Troy.
I apologize in advance. I just realized that this may not be specific to WordPress, but I had previously set up a website using Wix, and then I switched to a different host and that uses WordPress. So I set up a really basic site. And then now today, when I went to go and make some changes, I'm getting an error saying that it can't publish to the specified location, which I don't understand why I'm getting this error message, because I've never seen it before and I haven't changed any of my settings. So do you have any pointers on where I can look to get the check the publishing details?
Okay, so just to make sure we understand the problem, you had a Wix site, you had a host, then you changed to a host that migrated your Wix site to its servers, and in the process made it into a WordPress site?
No, actually, I was not able to migrate the Wix site. So I created an entirely new site myself on the new with the new provider. And
Good,
then
good. Okay, so you have a WordPress site.
yes, and so now I'm going back in to edit it. When I registered for this event, I did submit some questions about making changes, but now I can't make any changes because when I click publish, it's not working.
Okay, so, and what is the error message you get back when you click publish?
It says the site cannot be published to the specified location, cannot publish to the specified host via FTP. Authorization failed.
Okay, well, authorization is often a question of the permissions settings on files and folders, or as they're called, directories. But let me first check to see if anybody else would like to start off answering your question.
This actually sounds like you might not even be using WordPress because
Yeah,
But he said he rebuilt it as a WordPress site, right?
well, except that WordPress doesn't publish through FTP.
Agreed.
You can upload stuff through FTP. Well, when you click publish on a page or on a post, it doesn't open an FTP connection to anything.
Or offer
Right.
to open one.
So there's something else going on here.
Could we see the site? Could you put the URL for the site in the chat box?
Sure, if that helps. Here you go.
Or can you do this? Can you go into your admin dashboard and then share your screen so that we can see what you've got? Because
I actually have it open on a different device, so I would have to log in on this device that I'm using for the Zoom, and I don't want to take up everybody's time right now to do that.
Right.
Sorry. Yeah,
Okay,
I realized that this may not actually technically be a WordPress
No,
question.
but we can do almost as well just looking at the site with the URL, right, guys?
Yes, I'm actually looking at the raw code from this site, and it is not WordPress.
What is it?
It is a website builder called Web Presence Builder, and it is presumably the website builder from whatever host that you're using. Troy, what hosting company are you using?
Web hosting Canada.
All right, it must be whatever website builder they bought, but it is not WordPress.
Right. Yeah, I understand that now. So I apologize.
Yeah.
Oh,
However,
not to
web
worry.
hosting,
I mean, if nothing else, we'll help. We'll promote WordPress to you. Yes. So I see here that you got the generator value web presence builder 1209.
yeah. So Web Hosting Canada does have very good support. So if you open a support ticket from them, they will be able to resolve this issue for you. It's probably just a permission issue on a directory, which should be a simple fix.
Right. That's
But
like a one.
they'll need to fix it. Yeah.
If that is the problem. The other thing is, Drew, is it worth asking, why don't I have a WordPress site? You know, who told me to do it this way? I wanted a WordPress site.
Right. I got confused because they actually do offer WordPress. So I didn't realize until a few minutes ago that actually it was through the presence builder, not through WordPress.
See, the disadvantage of this non-WordPress approach is just where will you learn how to make the site what you want? Is there a community of people interested in this particular paid site building tool that like WordPress groups that you're at now, and we get together and we try to solve problems. One of the problems with going with a content management system that doesn't have a community is you're all by yourself. And
right.
Yes.
which, you know, the other thing is that not all systems support and encourage doing it yourself, as opposed to get started and then pay somebody to finish it. So I would find out if they have the experience to convert what you've done into a WordPress site, because that might be the simplest. I mean, they can solve the immediate problem, right? As Drew says, right? It sounds like something in their setup that they know how to solve and just need to be told that there's a problem, fix it, please.
Okay, thanks. I'll try that. I appreciate the tip.
Yeah.
Also consider that with this site builder, you could end up in the same boat that you were with Wix, a site that you can't move to a new host. So if you decide that you want to move to another web hosting company, you'd be into rebuilding your site again, and so being able to back it up and take it with you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I think Adam wanted
Adam
to say
has a
something.
question.
Yes, I mean, not really a question. I just want to ask Rob, because I did try to put all the plugin activated, and the errors like full of the page. So should I just send you email and then get you access the WordPress of my website, and so you can see like more in detail?
Yeah, that would be
maybe that's the
simplest way
better
to
way,
go about
because it doesn't take a lot of. I check one by one, so there's a CS7 form 100% have a problem.
Okay, well, let's talk about it offline because we're just about finished here tonight anyway. And
okay.
And you know, we've got things to look at and consider. So yeah, we can sort that out on the phone.
Sure. I will send you all the information so you can see the WordPress and then GoDaddy the database information. Yeah, I'll be really appreciate that.
Okay, Adam,
thank you.
No problem. Any last hands up? Drew, anybody we missed?
Don't see anything.
Well, that's been an exciting evening.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. The lifesaver.
Well, the other thing is that we've all been in a situation that similar in that the anxiety and the stress that comes from just something going wrong and it just being a black box. I mean, what is going on? And
Exactly.
just that feeling that here I spent all this time and what do I have to show for it? I've just got this bloody headache. However, when the light at the end of the tunnel becomes visible, then you have a great feeling of satisfaction because you're not dependent on everybody else telling you what to do.
Thank you. I really appreciate like the whole group. You guys are fantastic. I mean, I know nothing about WordPress.
What would be nice would be go to the page, the meetup page, and in the comments at the bottom, just tell us in 2 or 3 sentences. I came to this group. I didn't know what to expect. And I left the session and I was quite happy, you know, blah, blah, blah. That helps people, encourages people to come and try their problems out on us. And so nothing's better than a testimonial.
Yeah. It's been fun, but I'm afraid I have to go now. So I have to sign off. Good night, everybody.
I do too. We're all ready to sign off. Just get your copies of chat or the transcript as you like. This being a pretty good session, I will get the video up in the next couple of days. And so you'll get an email saying the video is available if you want to look at it. And we'll go from there. All righty.
Thank you. So
last comments before I sign us off?
Thank you for hosting.
Okay, guys. You too, Ross. Why don't you put in a little comment?
What's that?
Put in a comment on the page.
Yeah.
I gave them a tough problem. They fumbled the ball and then punted.
No, you guys are helpful. I got a laundry list of other problems that we can talk about next time. So,
attaboy, Ross. Okay, guys, we're signing off. Ciao all.